Welcome. Today I have my colleagues Jocke and Emma with me. Do you have a really good business idea? Today we'll help you develop your business idea into a validated business step by step. Emma, if I told you that I have a really good business idea, but I don't know how to get started, what advice would you give me to start up?
Good question. The best thing to get started is just to do that, to get started. And overall, developing your idea is about give and take. You need to get people's opinions, feedback, input. And in the beginning, you might be alone with your idea. And the goal is, of course, to get other people to also be passionate and understand the value of your idea so that they ultimately, in the end, buy your product or service or becomes your team member.
And one thing people think about a lot in the beginning is financing. And that's something that we try to get their mind out of a little bit, because you can do a lot without financing in the beginning. So don't get too stuck in trying to find a lot of money and resources in the beginning.
I can actually understand that because everything costs. So I can imagine you actually get stuck on that idea. But before I even get there, how do I know that this is an idea I should invest, if not money, but all my time and effort in?
The first thing that I think you need to do is to find a problem that you are really passionate about. An idea should solve a real problem. You can start thinking about different pain points. You've likely come across some pain points in your life, like road work causing traffic jam on the way to work, and you have thought, why hasn't anyone done something about this? So often a problem starts with frustrations, could be within yourself or for your potential customers. Your job is to understand the problem better than your potential customers.
But also one thing to kind of add to that is that it needs to be a big enough problem to kind of get traction to it. Because if you have a problem that's just for 5-6 people that really have the need for it, you can't really sell stuff for 5 million crowns each. So try to find a problem that's big enough that you can attract a lot of customers. So you get some kind of flow of income in later on as well. So it's kind of enough traction.
Which is actually what I'm after, getting an income. But so if I understood you right, it has to be something that stirs up emotions. And if I have found a problem within myself, for example, the traffic jams or something, how do I know if other people have the same problem before I keep developing it?
Well, one of the most important things here is kind of talk to people about it, right? So get some, we call it validation. They validate your idea. It's the kind of that you go out and you talk to a lot of people in the different industries or in your network as well. Doesn't really matter, as long as you talk to a lot of people and get their feedback on your idea and kind of how your solution will play into this. And that's kind of something that we really focus on in the beginning.
Yeah, don't only talk to your mom and family. Talk to people in your network, and by talking to people and connecting with others, it's also a good way of maybe finding a potential business partner or team members for the future, because eventually you will need a team to succeed. And then personal chemistry is also important to find teammates and partners that you connect with.
It's interesting you talk about that, because when you say partners, I also think about being in a relationship, which can be great and really fun and developing. But at times it can also be a bit difficult and hard.
Yeah, well, definitely. And we can see that multiple times in our line of work, kind of where people go into business with somebody they're going to be there for a long time. And it's the same with me and my wife. We have a different kind of a competence and structure in our life. She's more structured. I'm a little bit more unstructured, but have a more innovative mindset. So this kind of the same for businesses. You want to have competences and ideas that complement each other. And if you're really innovative and maybe you need somebody more structured to have getting the business forward, so to speak.
Exactly. But before you start building your team, of course, it's important to gather feedback, insights from people in your network before you start building on your solution. Because it's really important to understand both the customer's point of view as well as people in your network, to understand if this is a really big problem, and understanding the customer's frustrations, motivations, how do they solve the problem today? Is this really an important problem to solve? So start with the problem, talking to people, and start talking to customers before actually developing your solution.
And this is something that doesn't cost any money as well.
Yeah.
You can do it yourself without any financing.
Yeah.
But it's important, like you said, it has to be people that complements you, not just being a group of same like-minded people. But you're getting into that networking and talking with people. I mean, if I don't have anything to show them, I don't have any product, I have nothing to show them, how do I keep talking to them and about the problem?
Well, we kind of encourage people to create an MVP.
Maybe I can pop in. An MVP, it's a minimum viable product. It's basically a really early version of your product that you can show and that can be used for your potential customers in a really early stage. The idea is for customers to validate your product idea.
But it's also a benefit kind of understanding of this is what the customer actually wants.
Yeah.
And if this function is something that they need to have or they think is nice to have. So this is kind of something you iterate multiple times during your entire process of building your MVP or creating your MVP.
And the MVP and the early version of your product, it don't need to be like a finished version of your solution. You can just draw your idea on a napkin, on a piece of paper. You can take a picture. You can do a 3D printing, maybe do a simple video. I think Dropbox did a really good video early on to show their solution. But like I said, important is to validate and to understand how your future version of the product should look like.
Yeah.
It's interesting you're mentioning that before, because you started with talking about financing. It's not the most important things. And now that I do understand what MVP is, then I understand money is not the most important thing at this stage. But it's also something that I have understood is important or fun, actually. It's building the product. And you actually keep mentioning this quite early on, building the product. But, I mean, isn't that quite difficult because I don't have that much money and time? But you're mentioning it, I should start with it now anyway?
Yeah, well, you can, as Emma said, you can do this really simply. Right, on a napkin, or there are a lot of products and software out there they can use to kind of show off your product. That doesn't have to cost a fortune to use.
No. And the importance here is to really get feedback so you don't waste time, money, resources in building something that in the end people don't want to buy. So it's a way of validating that you actually will have success moving forward in the market and that you are building something people want.
Definitely.
Great, thank you. Is there anything else you would like to add?
Well, lastly, think about having goals, milestones, so that you have something to work towards and take off. It also is a way of making yourself accountable and to know what you need to do moving forward. Do you have anything else?
Yeah, well, yes, think about that your project should be something that you iterate continuously. Don't be afraid of changing the product or market plan or whatever it is multiple times, because that is how you develop and how you actually going forward.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to talk to customers. You can't do it too early. It's a really good way of validating your product, and also take help. We really want to help you moving forward. So use the organizations that you can use.
That's great here. Thank you so much, Jukka and Emma. It has been really clear during this conversation that it's really important to talk with your customers and understand their problems, because you don't want to develop a product that the market is not in a need for. So some key takeaways are: talk to others around you. Let people in your network validate that your idea is something they need. And also have fun along the way. If you're going to work with this, you have to be passionate about it. And the third thing is remember to get help. I know you guys are always here to help, and there's other organizations that want to help you. Thank you.